Well, hello there everybody. Welcome to my kitchen. Today we are going to be making a gluten-free Laffa bread. So Laffa is a flatbread, kind of like a pita, that you could roll it up with different things inside, and that's what we're going to be making today. So hello to everyone. If you don't know who I am, my name is Miriam Love. I am a hormonal nutrition coach and practitioner, and I help women that have all different hormonal issues change their health using the power of food. One of the things that I often tell my clients is to get off gluten. Gluten is something that's not only bad for our digestion, but also could wreak havoc on our hormonal system. But one of the things I found when going gluten-free is that when you tell people to go gluten-free, the first thing they do is they say, yeah, that's not going to happen, or that they go to the store and buy different things that you can find there that are gluten-free. The problem with that is that a lot of times these foods that are on the shelf, to give them a longer life, they put in them all different things that we don't really want in our body, like different gums and different starches that we're taking out the gluten, but we're putting in other things that aren't beneficial for our digestion and for our hormonal system. So to be able to really make a change, we want to have a gluten-free bread that we could use instead. Now, another thing that's really, really important when we come to make the change is we want it to be easy, because if we're like all day running around trying to take hours to make breads, that's never going to happen. And this recipe is one of the easiest, quickest, and most delicious recipes to make. So, and also another thing that's really, really important. If you are deciding to go off of gluten, the most important thing to do to make that sustainable is have a different option to turn to. Meaning, a lot of times I have women that try on their own, changing the way they're eating, and they end up going back to the way they ate before because it just wasn't sustainable, because they didn't have anything to fall back on, and they found themselves starving and then going back to eating what they always used to eat. So it's really important that we have options when we're starting on this journey. So let's get started and make our Laffa. So we're going to be using a mix of a few different gluten-free flours, and when we do gluten-free baking, that's the best way to get also a great flavor and a great texture, is by mixing a few different types. So as you can see, I like putting it all into one big jar. Do you see the different colored layers? And that way, when it's in a jar like that, I can make a lot at once and have it in the pantry, and then every time I want to make my Laffa, I just take out a scoop, add the water, mix it, and it's ready to go. So I'm going to show you how we do that. So I already have it in advance, but first I'll tell you about the different types of flours. So the bottom flour is chickpea flour. Chickpea flour gives this really, really rich, delicious taste to the Laffa bread, and it's a great source of protein. So that's one of the flours we use. The second one we use, by the way, I'm just going to try not to get myself dirty. Can't promise anything. So the second flour, that's the brown one in the middle. That's called teff flour, T-E-F-F. Teff flour is made out of a grain called teff. And teff is the smallest grain in the world, and it's brought from Ethiopia. So there they use it to make a bread called injera. And here we're using the flour to add it to our Laffa. It's very earthy, a little bit sour tasting, so not many people like eating it alone, but together in the mix, it's amazing. And also it's so filled with proteins, amino acids. It's just a great, great flour to get to know. And the last flour I have here, the white one, that is arrowroot starch. So arrowroot starch acts like a starch. It's a binding agent, and when we're baking gluten-free, we need that to help us stick things together, which we don't get because we don't have gluten. So arrowroot is a really, really great choice. Another one that acts like it is tapioca powder, or tapioca flour, or tapioca starch. It's all the same thing. The tapioca does go through a little more processing, so I prefer the arrowroot, and arrowroot studies show that it's better for our digestion, it's good for our, it supports our immune system. So that's a choice I really like having. I actually have an example here of arrowroot. So now that we have our flowers, I'm just going to add some salt to it because I didn't get to do that before. And I have some pink Himalayas salt here. And I actually have a funny story while I put this in to tell you about the salt. So I always get the Himalaya salt because people think it's funny, like, why is it pink? I'm getting all dirty here. And really, that's just the natural colors of the minerals that are in salt. And that's what we want from the salt. We want those amazing minerals. When we buy the white salt, it means that it was washed out from the minerals. It goes through processing. They add all these different things to it to give it a longer shelf life, which is really weird because when we buy salt, we think, oh, this is only salt. But no, there's a lot of things that go through it, and you could read on the ingredients. So I like getting the pink Himalaya salt that's full of the minerals. Now, one day we ran out, so my husband got the white salt, and one of my youngest, Ophel, who's 5, he saw the white salt, and he started laughing his head off, and we're like looking at him like, what? He's like, pinks. No, he goes, white salt, that's so funny. Why is it white and not pink? And he just thought it was hilarious. And my husband thought it was crazy. And I was just like such a proud mama at that moment that that's the norm for him, the pink salt. So anyway, that's just a little anecdote. But I'm just going to add some salt in here. And you could always add some more afterwards or decide to make it salt-free. But now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take these beautiful layers and just mix them all together. And then I have my mix that's sitting in the pantry that I can always just take some out when I want to make a quick laffa. Okay? Okay, so now that I've got my mix together, let's make the laffa. So I'll take the same amount of mix to the same amount of water. So I am going to take a half a cup of the mix, put it in my bowl, smooth this over now, and we'll add some water. Okay, and now I just want to mix it. And I want to achieve like a really liquidy texture because it'll change once we heat it up here on the skillet or pan. But let me show you how liquidy it is. Ooh, very liquidy. Okay, so now that I'm all dirty, let's get started. I'm heating up my skillet. I got, when I was mixing the flour, of course I got it all dirty, so I'll just take off the flours. Okay, so one of the tricks is you need now a non-stick pan. It could be any non-stick pan. I happen to have like this flat one, but it could be just a regular non-stick one. And the trick is to really heat it up. You don't need any oil or anything for it to be like not stick. Just the non-stick itself is enough, okay? So I'm just gonna make sure this is nice and mixed. Now, one of the things that are nice about this laffa is this is the base recipe. You could really play around with this. I like adding, like, depending how much, a teaspoon to a tablespoon spirulina powder, and it turns it green, which the kids think it's funny, but that way I'm getting in, like, amazing stuff happening with the spirulina, the iron, and the protein, and all that green goodness. And I also like adding sesame seeds. So it gives it like this sesame flavor to the laffa, but you could really play around with it and put in different spices, herbs, see how you want to play with that. But this is the base recipe. And I think it's heated up enough. Okay, so I'm going to show you 2 ways to do it. One is I actually have this like flattener thing, so it makes it really flat, but you could just use the back of your ladle. That's also fine. Okay, so I'm taking a nice amount. Pouring it on. And let's turn it into as round as we can. Okay, I just like flatten it in round circular motions. And now we just let it cook for around 2 minutes. And the way to tell when it's ready is when you start seeing the sides that they start like lifting up a tiny, tiny bit. That's when you know that you could flip it, okay? So in the meantime, I'll tell you where you can lovefood.co.il/period-fixer. I have a free guide there that's called the Hormone Fixer Starter Kit. And in there, I have a lot of amazing recipes for you, as well as step-by-step what the steps you should be taking to really balance out. Okay, we've got disconnected for a second. All good. So the Laffa recipe is in that free guide, so you could head over to lovefood.co.il/period-fixer, and that's where you'll get this recipe. Okay, so let's see if we can flip this. Yeah. It's always so nerve-wracking when you're doing it on camera, right? Okay, got it up. There we go, look at that. Okay, so once you flip it, it needs like another half a minute and then it's done. And then we'll do one more and I'll show you how I flatten it out this time without my special tools, that everyone could do it at home. Now, in the meantime, I will tell you that we're going to be meeting here again next week on Wednesday to make something else healthy and delicious. And I hope to see you again very soon. It comes out on Wednesdays at 3 p.m. Israel time, and I think it's 8 a.m. Eastern time. Correct me if I'm wrong. But, of course, you could always come back and watch at a time that you're available. And it's a limited time series for the next few weeks. So I hope you don't miss out on any one of them. And I'm really excited to be here in the kitchen with you. So this one's going to be ready soon. And in the meantime, I'm going to show you how I roll it up, how pliable it is. Let me show you already now. Come close. Look how beautiful. And it really wraps beautifully. Woo! So I have here some tahini, some vegetables I chopped up from my garden and cut up and ready. And we're gonna wrap up these rolls. Let's just flip this one. You see how quick that was? I think. There we go. Okay. These are a little sticky today. Okay, now I'm going to bring the plate here with the wraps. You can see how we wrap one up really nicely. Okay, that is done. And let's start wrapping. Okay, you could really, let's bring the camera, yeah. You could really add anything you want to these wraps. I like adding pesto or avocado, or really anything, and vegetables. You could, oh, and I also use them sometimes as just like a tortilla wrap if I want a tortilla, and this is a great gluten-free option. So you could really use it for so many different things. So I have here some chives from my garden, so let's put that in. And I have some parsley from my garden, love parsley. And I have some peppers from my garden. So I'm going to put all those in. Okay. And I'm going to drizzle. I just happen to have, I didn't feel like mixing up the tahini because I wanted to be a quick fix. So I just like putting it on like this, like as a paste, the tahini paste. It's delicious. So I'm just going to drizzle it on a little. And sometimes I love putting in eggs also. It's a great breakfast wrap that you could do. Okay, let's roll it up. And you can see how beautiful and pliable it is. And it's ready to eat. There you go. Okay, it's your time to make these beautiful laffas. You could use them for really anything. You saw how quick that was. I just talked a lot, but really it's just making in advance our mix. And when you're ready to take it, you take the same amount in the mix, same amount of water, mix it, flip it. It took literally, I think, like a minute for each one. That's it. You're done and ready. So for the recipe, I'm reminding you, I'll put the link down below, but also you can head over to lovefood.co.il/fixer to get the free guide that has this recipe in it as well. Okay guys, thanks for being with me today, and I'll see you again next week at the same time. So see you then. Bye for now.